All right, is everyone ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right, thank you, Joe Vrenick, for the idea. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get Loki. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get Loki. 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 Hi, I'm Tanner Richard Kraft.
I'm Joseph Vrenick.
I'm Austin Zwiebelman.
I'm Joe Boevingloh.
And I'm Rein Conversity.
And today we are talking about, because we had to switch up the schedule because Joe Boevingloh, being the diva he is, demanded that we accommodate for him. So instead of talking about Space Jam, we'll be talking about Space Jam next week. Don't you worry. We will come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. But for now, we are talking about episodes 4, 5, and 6 of I Came, and by that I mean we're talking about Loki. So since we don't need to talk about our history with Loki, because we already did that last week, I think this week we're just going to get right into it. What did you guys think of episodes 4 through 6 of Loki overall? We're going to start with Rein.
Oh boy. So I guess I should start this with, since I've been seeing these episodes week to week, instead of just like a big giant burst like I have with WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, I have to be honest that I have it's all sort of blending together. It's hard for me to remember like what happened in episode 2, what happened in episode 4, what happened in episode 5. So I can only just give a general rundown of my thoughts for the past few episodes. And I gotta say, we're starting with the hot take here. So I think I really enjoyed it from episode 4 to 6. I really enjoyed it until I might have not really enjoyed it at all. Until I think I might have even really disliked the 6th episode, I guess, straight up in a way. I have very mixed feelings on it. But, back to positives. Episode 4 and 5, I thought that they were a great time. I was really enjoying how this show is able to be just like a fun romp, while at the same time being able to analyze Loki, his relation to the world and his relationship to himself in a way, as well as the budding romance. Everything with him and Sylvie, I think, works great. But yeah, man, that ending. My problem is So Kang, Mr. Kang himself, fantastic performance, great way to introduce I like the premise of the character, like how they're fitting him to the MCU. I think it's a good way to like keep it goofy and comic booky while also keeping it reasonable for like general audiences. My main problem is I thought like this whole story trying to like analyze Loki while also giving us a fun adventure. That all these episodes have been able to do it so far. I feel like for the last episode they really dropped a lot of that, just to advertise, hey, here's our next big bad for the saga. And I could be wrong. Like, I want to be wrong. Everything with Kang, I just feel like everything is like, it's no longer in service to Loki's arc. It's now in service to just advertising future installments of this villain's appearance. I'm very mixed on that, though, because I do feel like, because there is the stuff with Sylvie at the very end where Loki is for the first time being truly honest, and she's just not able to just let go of her vengeance mindset, like having to have a target. And, I mean, it's possible that maybe it's just not a satisfying ending for me. It's not that they aren't trying, it's just it wasn't what I was wanting. So that was like just the big thing for me for these past couple episodes that I've just been like, my mind has been constantly stuck on. So I will give it to whoever's next.
So what you're saying, Rein, is that you're homophobic, and I understand completely. If Loki was straight, you wouldn't be saying these things. I'm just saying. If
It's
Loki
true.
did not confirm he's a bi icon, you would not be saying these things.
A bit of both. I suspect the same as you.
I can't argue against that.
Rein is a bigot. He hates everyone. He hates everyone not named Rein Conversity. So, Joe Vrenick,
Oh boy.
let's go to a more positive take here, as I'm sure. What do you think of these episodes 4 through 6 overall?
Wait, I want one more thing.
I am homophobic.
Man, that Kang performance.
The last Black Kang in the multiverse? Rein, I also just want to address something with you real quick. Reading between the lines, whatever Kang is going to be when he actually shows up is going to be nothing like that performance, even though it's going to be the same actor.
Well, we can get into that later, but yeah, no, I know what you mean, but yeah, we'll get into that.
I have a specific thing with Jonathan Majors because I was so enamored with that. Mm-hmm. So, Vrenick, episodes 4 through 6 overall.
So, on the last episode of the Loki podcast that we had, I had one very specific thing that I wanted this show to do. And that was for shit to get weird. I also wanted things to remain unpredictable. I had no idea where this show was going. 4, 5, and 6, those episodes, holy fucking shit, did they just escalate the weirdness to, like, the level that I've been wanting these Marvel properties to be for the fucking longest time. Like, here we are. Episode 4, Loki gets, what do they call it? They jab him with the thing.
Pruned.
That's the end of the episode, but yeah, they prune him.
He gets pruned. Owen Wilson gets pruned. There's the fucking timekeeper robot people that are like very reminiscent of like the Wizard of Oz and shit. Like that shit's weird, and they have like these cool designs. And then there's that mid-credits scene, which leads into episode 4. They're on this other planet. There's all these other Lokis. Richard E. Grant is wearing a 1960s Loki costume, and it looks fucking incredible. Don't even get me started on the ending of this last episode. Holy fucking shit, did that take some balls for that to be the final fucking episode of the show.
He screamed. He literally went like, what?
Yeah, it's probably the first time maybe since like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 that I've had such a fucking strong reaction to like a Marvel movie, like a Marvel property. It's not a movie, but I mean, they're kind of shot like movies at this point. But yeah, I loved these episodes. I want to see where season 2 goes. I want to... Just when I thought I was out of Marvel, they fucking pull me back in.
Just when you thought you were out!
I want to know where Phase 4 is going to go, because they have like said that Kang is going to be like basically Phase 4's version of Thanos. And already, like they've done a better job with setting him up, because they've established the stakes of how powerful this guy is just in one fucking shot. Holy shit, what is he going to fuck up? I am excited, man.
Yeah, I don't think I could agree more. Boevingloh, what do you think of episodes 4 through 6 overall?
Well, overall, I thought they were fantastic. Episode number 4, the episode after we did the first podcast, we thought that we were going to look like jackasses after that first episode, and I would say we did. Yeah.
We looked like total jackasses!
Anything we said we wanted to happen did happen, or it didn't. Like, if you watch that, like, there's so many things that we covered, but also didn't cover. I remember Austin's point about it being about religion, about how the TVA is kind of like a religion in a way, and it's just like, after the timekeepers were revealed to be robots, it was kind of like, coming from someone that used to be religious and is no longer religious, that hit with me. Like, thinking about the TVA as religion and then finding out that that wasn't what I thought it was, that kind of solidified it for me. So I think I agree more with Austin now that it is definitely more about religion. In a way, at least. So that was really cool. And then, just overall, the arcs of the last 3 episodes, just leading up to the final big reveal, that was... I guess I would call the episodes 4 and 5, those could have been, like, the whole last episode was just the reveal. That's all the episode was, for the most part. And, like, I feel like they did a really good job setting up that the final episode of it was just this huge reveal that's going to be where we're at for however many years this saga is going to be. And I think that they set it up really well.
We love you, Boevingloh.
In final, Loki good.
Loki good. Austin, give us to us. Give us the religion. Give us the war. Give it to us all. What'd you think of 4 through 6?
Actually, I'm going to punt responsibility for that religion claim, the same way that I'm punting responsibility for claiming WandaVision was about the Iraq War and that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was about conflicts with the state, because Disney will never let me have that. Instead, I'm applying for the position as an IGN writer that now needs to be filled because they fired a guy who tried to give a Loki episode a C rating.
That fucking discourse was exhausting. I want to blow my brains out.
As someone who loves IGN as a publication, when I was younger, I saw some... I saw some R-rated movies and some art house films as a kid that made me really engage with the medium, but literature and comic books, not quite so much, until I was in 8th grade and I started reading Alan Moore's Watchmen. And I got to the parts where Dr. Manhattan was dissecting how he goes through time non-linearly and how he views it. And that was the first time that I had a comic book sort of hit me the way that I watched movies. This would later go on with books when I read Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut for the first time. So we just went through the entire Infinity Saga, right? It was a fun ride, starting with Iron Man, ending with Endgame. I really liked Doctor Strange and I really liked Ant-Man. But really, with these Disney Plus shows following it, as well as that Spider-Man film, I think this really kicks off the Phase 4 we've been hearing about. When they were saying that they were about to get weird, I think that these last 3 episodes are really the door being opened to that thing that's been advertised to us. And that's so exciting because I have this guy, this Uncle Michael, and he's been telling me all these details about comics. And every Hanukkah that I ever showed up to at my grandma's house, he's like, hey, did you know the Fantastic Four actually once got in a tussle with the Time Police? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Michael? We're on the part where Iron Man builds War Machine. And it's cool that we're like inching ever closer to that psychedelic horizon where shit just like all the cans of worms just open all at once. I love how ballsy it was that the 6th episode is them going to a castle at the end of time. And I'm sort of in the same boat as Rein as far as like what I felt during that episode was mostly disappointment. There's this show I really like called Mr. Robot, and they condensed 2 final seasons into 1. And any Mr. Robot fan knows there's this episode, season 4, episode 7, where it's all just talking the entire episode, leading to this crazy conclusion, kind of like what episode 6 did, where they're trying to figure out the truth of what Kang is saying and deal with it. And I didn't think that was as fun following up after, episode 4 and episode 5. But for the most part, I like that this show stuck the landing more, because with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it seemed like they went for some like family-friendly, easy-to-digest action movie, whereas this thing went like a postmodern mindfuck finale. And I'll definitely take that. I like that this is a sign of things to come. And overall, Loki's been my favorite show so far. This really cemented it. And so I'm just really excited for season 2, like the rest of you.
All right, I'll take it over from here. I came. Semen everywhere. Disgusting. I spent hours cleaning it up. Episodes 4 through 5 is everything I never thought the MCU would ever do. When, in the middle of episode 5, where Tom Hiddleston's like, I've had enough of this shit. I'm gonna go. And he opens the door to like 20 fucking different Lokis, like, well, which one of us are you? And he just looks so fed up. I was like, oh my God, this is everything I've always wanted Marvel to do, and I never thought they would ever do it. And I had accepted that. I had accepted that Marvel's always going to be this grounded weirdness, and I was going to be okay with that. They've opened Pandora's box here, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go back. I still like the grounded stuff. I'm still excited for Shang-Chi and stuff like that, but they've opened the fucking box here, and it's kind of insane that they went there. It's almost weird to talk about episodes 4 through 6, because 4 and 5 feel like a much more coherent piece together than episode 6 does. If it weren't for a very specific aspect of episode 6, which we're going to get into later, I think I might have been more disappointed with episode 6 as a whole. But something saved that episode for me, and we'll get to that. But episodes 4 and 5 was insane. When I was watching episode 4, you know what I witnessed? I witnessed everything we talked about in the podcast being like, we want to see this, we want to see that, I hope we see this, I hope we see that. Basically address everything we thought we wanted in episode 4. And then there were still 2 episodes left. I lost my goddamn, I lost my Loki. No, why am I talking about so much? That's weird. Loki is everything I wanted from these Disney Plus Marvel shows. I say that as someone who was a really big fan of WandaVision, and I think it deserves all the love it's getting at the awards. I say this as a huge fan of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I think it's really fucking weird Don Cheadle got nominated for an Emmy.
World's a crazy place right now.
This show was bonkers. This show was insane. Tom Hiddleston in episode 6 is some of the greatest acting I have ever seen from him. The way he's like, this is it. Oh, evil, dark masterminds Loki, grand plan comes together. I went, oh man, this is acting. Holy shit. It shows how much Tom Hiddleston cares for this character and for this world. I just loved these episodes so much. I love this show so much. I'm so excited to see a season 2, which apparently we weren't supposed to know about. So I kind of feel like a dick for talking about that last podcast episode on this one. Apparently that wasn't a confirmed thing. I just read it. I was just spreading leaks on the internet. I'm part of the problem. I am the bad guy. Duh.
Canceled.
I'm uncancelable. Warps into puppy. I love these episodes. If I had to pick an absolute favorite episode, I think I would pick episode 5, between Loki Battle Royale scene and Richard E. Grant's Glorious Purpose scene, which was some of the most beautiful. That Glorious Purpose scene, talk about a masterclass of introducing us to a character, making us care about him, and making us sad when he's gone. I felt real emotion when Richard E. Grant was able to fulfill his glorious purpose, his meaning of life. And that was a single episode. If he doesn't get a guest Emmy nomination next year, the world is bullshit.
I was going to say Loki got to die a hero twice.
Exactly. So very rapid fire, guys, because this is just such a brief question. Favorite episode of the series overall? We'll start with Rein.
All right, yeah, no, you stole the words right out of my mouth when you were talking about episode 5. I think it was just wonderful to see all these different sides of Loki. Although the moment I saw Kid Loki, I was like, oh, there goes my weird theory out the window. I gotta say, that kid was not the greatest actor. I'm sorry, kid, if you see this and I contribute to your bullying.
That was Death Machine Star, you idiot.
Anyway, Richard, his whole story arc, I thought it was like a masterclass in just like a little mini arc of just setting up this character and then having his payoff. It was just, I thought it was amazing, and not to mention like the visual like beauty of just seeing like all of Asgard made within the context of how illusions are in the Are you okay, Tanner?
No. Devin Dillon out of nowhere just texted me, what if Kanye West was Kang? And I don't know what this is supposed to mean.
I thought you were crying, like you were getting worked up by my
I was just reading the message, and I just say, imagine if Kanye West was Kang, and I just felt all the fluids drain from my brain.
I thought what I was saying was emotionally moving.
No, it is, though. It is. Sorry.
No, you're good. And then, yeah, no, he really sells it. And then something you brought up that when we were talking about the episode that I think was really adds a lot to it that I didn't even think about when watching the episode was
oh, right.
Like, Asgardians age super, super slowly. Like, Thor and Loki are like 1,500 years old, like, in these movies. Just imagine how long Richard E. Grant had to have been alone. Like, just the sheer amount of time. Like, that's just...
Yeah.
Insane. And then it was just wonderful to see this man giving like this deep moving speech while dressed in a garish 60s style suit.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
I love it.
And then Gator Loki
It'll be the dude's hand.
It'll be a sad world if he doesn't become the next like Baby Yoda or Baby Groot.
Dear Disney, please put your secret corporate marketing money into Alligator Loki.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that was my favorite episode.
Vrenick, favorite episode and why? Quickly go.
Oh, God. So my favorite episode's the same as Rein's, episode 5. Pretty much for all the same reasons as Rein. I won't go too deep into it. I also won't go into a character in that because that's part of the next question as I'm seeing here. But I will talk about this. As a comic book nerd who loves really weird shit, like even the... weird shit that would probably never make it into the movies. That episode alone was just heaven for me because you get shots of the Thanos copter. You get a shot of it was Frog Thor, right?
Yeah.
Like he's in the jar hopping for the hammer, voiced by Chris Hemsworth, I believe. There's like all of these like tiny little weird Easter eggs, and then you got that whole brawl with President Loki. And that one fucking shot where just chomps off the fucking hand. That's probably the most intense I've seen a Marvel show like it gets, and it kind of looked bloody. Like, oh, damn, like they're going there. Holy shit, this is awesome. But yeah, no, it absolutely fucking bonkers episode. I had some fun little Easter eggs that I really enjoyed. Also, it had a cloud villain that was actually a cloud villain, so that they're not taking Yeah, that I was talking about this with Tanner when I watched the episode. Eliath is actually a cloud monster. So they're not taking some like random guy and just making him a cloud villain. They're actually using a cloud villain correctly.
I refuse to believe you. I assumed that was just another case of Galactus.
Elias is just a cloud dude in the comics.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
he is just a cloud monster.
Okay.
All right, Boevingloh, very quickly, favorite episode and why?
I will say my main disappointment with this series has been the fact that there wasn't a crossover with Disney's movie The Minutemen.
Our clock stoppers.
Why wasn't this in the next Time Splitters game?
Where's the clock stoppers?
Cock blockers.
Some Disney original movie crossover here. Kind of disappointed
Yeah.
that we didn't, but it's really hard to say between all three of those episodes. There was something to gravitate towards. Like in episode 4, there was finding out the timekeepers weren't real. People thinking that Loki died again. How many times have they teased his death? It's always interesting to find new ways to kill Loki, I guess. I mean, I think I would probably lean towards episode 5 being my favorite because of how much is revealed in that episode. Because I mentioned in the last podcast again that I really like world building episodes where seeing where I'm at, seeing what's to come, and seeing what I'm in for. And episode 5 definitely delivered on that. There's just so much happening and there's just so much build up. And then episode 6, I didn't feel the same disappointment that I've been hearing a little bit from others. I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the reveal of Loki is not where he thinks he is, or thought he was. Sylvie didn't send him to the right place.
Yeah, that place made me scream. I screamed when they panned up to the statue. I literally went, "Oh my god!"
But that whole Planet of the Apes reveal, those damn dirty apes, when he sees the Statue of Liberty, that's the same vibe.
Oh my god, Joe Vrenick said the same thing when he watched it.
I literally quoted the actual scene from Planet of the Apes when that happened.
You maniacs! You blew it up!
To be fair, I didn't notice it when it happened. That was something I saw afterwards. I was like, oh my god, they're right. I can't take full credit on that, but I thought that was really cool. But
You know what? We'll give you full credit on that. You earned it.
no, don't do that, please.
Full credit, A+.
No, I'll take a C.
B minus, and you'll like it.
But episode 5 for the win.
All right. Austin, favorite episode and why? Hurry, go.
Yeah, Sunny is my favorite character in The Heights.
Again?
As someone who's an optimist and really wants Loki and Sylvie to make a porno, episode 5 felt like a high that lasted 7 days. I loved everything in that episode. I thought it was funny in this set of episodes. They killed the perceived final boss 3 episodes in a row. That really shows you got a Rick and Morty writer. But when you're an optimist, I think episode 5 is the perfect little bubble. It was so much fun. I gotta pick that one.
That's a fair answer. Okay, guys. Moving on to the next question, and to be a bit of a surprise this time, we're going to start with Vrenick. Favorite character of this show and why?
All right, so my favorite character of the show was only in one episode, and I had mentioned that I was going to talk about him later. It's got to be Richard E. Grant as classic Loki. He has been my favorite character of this show this entire time, and which is kind of insane because when they introduced the Kang variants, I had his name pulled up here. Immortus. That's the name of the Kang variant that they're using. They don't say his name in the show.
They literally call him He Who Reigns. That's a Marvel comic character. That's a variation of Kang. He Who Remains.
Yeah. Anyway, Richard E. Grant as classic Loki. First off, that fucking costume might be the greatest costume in anything Marvel related. That costume is A+ costume. Secondly, Richard E. Grant acts the fucking hell out of that character. My God, did he just come onto the show and just class that shit up? Thirdly, he's only in one episode, and yet you get so much information about him that you just know where he's coming from. You know his motivation, and then his sacrifice at the end of that episode is just so meaningful. I did not want to see him die. I want a whole show with him, damn it.
You'll get Alligator Loki show and you'll like it.
You know what? I'll take that because I actually really do like Alligator Loki too. That is such a weird.
I'll compromise.
Yeah.
That is such a weird concept that I'm just like, you know what? If they just made a show out of this, I would watch it.
All right, I really want to keep people on their toes. So, Austin, who is your favorite character and why?
I can't believe she got established as canon in episode 6, but Greta Thunberg probably is my favorite character.
You know what? I thought it was great that Nelson Mandela was established as canon, especially after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's officially confirmed racism does not exist in the MCU now.
He who remains is black. It's great.
We did it! We did it!
Wakanda forever!
Obama's president!
If Tanner could have voted for Immortus for a third term, he would have.
I would have voted for Immortus for a third term.
This is some vanilla shit I'm about to pull, but my favorite character is probably still be Loki, because he's this committed to masturbating. This man will transcend time and space to love himself. This dude's most likely a Nexus being because his first true love is beating the Bishop. Loki started a multiversal war again just in hopes he could do hand-to-gland combat. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect Marvel to focus this heavily on a character who would shatter reality just to bust with someone he can trust. After that finale, everybody except Loki felt like pawns in somebody else's game. Meanwhile, our protagonist was playing with himself all along.
Remember when at the end of the last podcast episode we said, yeah, Marvel's never going to do self-cest? And then immediately they leaned into that?
It's like, look at your eyes. You like her.
What?
You like her. Does she?
Yep.
Self-cest.
All right. I'm going to keep everyone on their toes here. Boevingloh, who's your favorite character and why?
It is, like, I'll go vanilla as well. It's either Loki or Sylvie. Definitely. It's really hard, seeing the progression of Loki, not even just in the series, but overall. He used to be just like this villain with some comedic relief here and there, obviously lovable, and you wanted to trust, he was a great character already. But now I feel like he's more cemented as an actual character. He's almost a hero now. At least they're painting him kind of as one. So it's kind of interesting to see his entire arc as they've painted it out for us. And then with Sylvie, she's this new, essentially Loki. She's not getting the same arc over time that we saw with Loki, but she still got that arc. Actually, I guess she wouldn't have really gotten that arc, now that I think about it, because she didn't really change a whole lot throughout the whole show. The more I think of it, the more I disagree with myself, because in episode...
What you're saying is you're disagreeing with your variant?
We got him.
Yeah.
We got him.
Yeah. But in episode 3, when I think it's episode 3, they're talking to the dude that's in, or they're trying to talk to the dude that's in the house trying to get off Lamentus, and Loki trying I am mistaken. It was Sylvia that wanted to be more brash about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that carried through the whole show. Up until the end, where she caused mayhem that we're going to be living in for the next however many years. It'll be interesting to see how she changes. Yeah.
Sylvie most certainly did some damage.
Oh,
Rein.
yeah.
Yes.
I have a feeling you will also go vanilla here, but who's your favorite character and why?
Actually, no, I think because of just as short as it was so well executed that I'll just have to go back to
Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, and why just see what Joe V said and what I said for episode 5. Although very, very honorable mention though to Loki himself though, so you're not too far from the point. I really do think it really is interesting to see his growth, from just being a knockoff of Avengers 1 Loki to seeing his, him being emotionally moved, the beginnings of him being able to become a new person, a new character, and then just sort of his back and forth until everything sort of fails. And I guess to go back to what I was saying before about the last, my disappointment, then I will say, pretty much everything I said about my disappointment I will rescind if they really find a good way to conclude. If it's just if they find a good way to conclude the arc for the second season, to conclude Loki's arc, I would really appreciate that. Then touching on with Sylvie's arc, what you were saying, Boevingloh, I think the way I feel it, because she did I felt like she was growing and not being so one-track mind, be able to let go of her sort of attitude towards the world. And she was growing until she sort of went back like it's very common in a redemption arc or really any character arc for there to be like a brief like relapse into their old ways before they really truly learn how to learn. And assuming this is, I feel like if you view season 1 as just like a smaller part of a larger part for the Loki story, then I could see it working as just like Sylvie's relapse and her mistake, and then and then if season 2 she has to learn from her mistake and then grow from it, and Loki gets to find it. Like I feel like if there's like a better conclusion to his arc, whereas this sort of just I felt like it was just a giant cliffhanger, then all my complaints with the last episode will be rescinded.
All right. I think you brought into a great point with the redemption arc. Every great redemption arc has a KFC double down right there in the middle somewhere. So, but straight up, I mean, like Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi was him doubling down before his redemption. And oh, well, that's right. They never made another Star Wars movie after that.
Oh yeah, it's funny how life is.
Austin's look. That killed me. I'm going to rank my top 5 characters because I'm selfish and I can't pick. Number 5, Sylvie. I think Sylvie was a great character. She was really interesting. And I think seeing her moment of doubling down was heartbreaking in an interesting way. Number 4, we're going to name Mobius, my boy, Owen Wilson. God, what a... Owen Wilson's hot. He's just hot, man. I would. He's a great character. I really love him as a mentor.
Or Tanner Richardcraft, if he's not crying, he's thirsting on this podcast.
Yeah, I just noticed I switched between horny and crying all the goddamn time. Number 3, Richard E. Grant as classic Loki. I loved it. You guys have said it. I've already said it, but it's just such a masterful performance that really deserves a guest Emmy nomination next year. Number 2, it's going to be Loki himself. Loki himself is so... I just love his arc in this show. It's like a better version of the arc we always got somehow. Because I really felt like he truly learned how to be a good man and a hero. Kind of like what Boevingloh was saying before. At the end of this show, he's ultimately acting in what the best interest of the universe is. And more importantly, what the best interest of Sylvie is.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful moment because it was like, I don't want to hurt you. I just want you to be okay. A lesser version of this character would have just said, I just want you. Framing it selfishly, but him saying, I just want you to be okay is amazing. Yeah. And it shows his growth. Now, this is going to sound insane. You would notice I said top 5, and I've said 4. Because this actually transitions into our next question. But as I was thinking about it, leading up to this question, I think my favorite character in this show is Jonathan Majors' He Who Remains. I know it's only one episode, but that performance is so masterful. I was afraid after watching it, am I like just buying into weird, quirky villain stuff? But seeing the hype for him from others made me feel validated in it. It's more than just this weird, quirky guy to me. There's like a lot of grandness to him. A lot of like weight to just his mere presence. I think that's in the costuming. I think that's in Citadel at the End of Time. Everything about him as a character makes me excited because the version we saw here is pretty much an objectively terrible person that removed everyone of their free will. But he hammers home, and as we find out he's right, he's probably the best version of him. The best version of him removes free will. What's the worst version going to be like? And I don't know. Jonathan Majors is As He Who Remains is such a great character, and it's a shame that we'll probably never see that version again. But for as brief as his time in this spotlight was, it was incredible. I can't wait until we see him in probably the next Ant-Man movie, maybe Doctor Strange, we'll see. I just remember at the beginning of the show, I was convinced Kang wasn't going to be a part of it because we didn't learn about Jonathan Majors as Kang until Ant-Man was in pre-production, so apparently they just announced it late. And they were really... Marvel's the king of hiding their cards. They really are.
Is it time for us to talk about Kang, or is there another bit?
It's just Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains.
Yeah.
And I guess it could also tie into what do you think of the future for the universe. Maybe we can just put it as a 2-parter question. We'll start with Austin to keep everyone on their toes. Austin, what do you think of Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains? And what do you think about his character and its implication on the future of these TV shows and movies?
Jonathan Majors was given some pretty solid direction by Kate Herron so that he could, switch up his performances to keep everybody intrigued throughout the episode. And I'm sad Kate Herron isn't coming back for season 2 because,
same.
Part of how good Jonathan Majors was in that scene was probably some coaching from Kate Herron, as well as, him being Jonathan Majors. He was a pretty substantial villain for how much of the episode he had to fill up. And there's a scene, or the dolly zoom. It was downright art house, where it zooms into him
love that!
very slowly, like some crazy shit. And he's just like, we just crossed the threshold. I was like, am I watching a fucking A24 film right now? What is this? It was
Vrenick, didn't I freak out when that shot happened? I watch this.
Yes, you were freaking out.
They do the exact same thing in Boogie Nights, which is my favorite movie. I can't believe they did that in a Marvel film. And so my thing on the future of the MCU is, if we're in reality going to have a company like Disney swallow up all the competitors until it forms sort of like a media monopoly singularity and they wreak untold havoc on our wallets, might as well have it pay off by getting these films where nobody's off limits anymore. I'm talking actors, storylines, times, places, you name it. Anything is possible now because we're in hell. And I also think this is a great answer to the question, how do you top Thanos? Because it's pretty hard to think of somebody who can top universal genocide. And I think that a villain who can come in a bunch of increasingly worse forms from outside the universe, like some kind of fifth dimensional chaos monster, that's a pretty good, successor. I'm excited for this weird James Joyce postmodern interstellar black hole Marvel movie thing that's about to happen, because I think it's the new 60s, baby. Marvel movies are going to be sci-fi for drug addicts now. I'm excited. I think we're about to have fun and enter into a new decade of some cosmically weird shit.
Who knew in that scene in the second Ant-Man movie where Stan Lee's cameo was like, well, the 60s were fun, but now I'm paying for it. Who knew that would be an omen for things to come? Rein, Jonathan Major as Kang, and the future of the MCU go.
Yeah, so I have 3 things that needs to be said about Kang. First, that drip.
Oh, absolute style off the charts.
It's funny too because it's I didn't realize this until I looked up because I forgot what Immortus looked like. It's actually a faithful adaptation of his suit too, just minus the hat. But anyway, the actual second great thing about, because I said a lot. I was pretty critical of his where he fit into the show, but I did really appreciate in a vacuum. I thought all of it was just great. It still could be great. But anyway. Yeah, there's 2 things about they're great about He Who Remains. First off, this particular version, I thought his performance as this specific version of Kang, I thought was really just out of the park. You could tell there was just a bit of just badness to him, and also just someone's just been alive for way too long. It's just been, when he said I've been doing this for a long time, I can tell, and then you could also tell this is a person who's done horrible things, but he is kind of a tired trope of the bad guy who thinks they're in the right. But this is I do think just through performance alone, this is one of the more really moving variations of that, which is crazy because it's just a half-hour episode. And then also again that Dolly in is really effective. Just this is one of the biggest moments in this guy's life is now we're finally out of the point where everything's just pre-programmed, and now finally we are at the end of my life, most likely, and then he's just sort of overjoyed to finally have freedom again in a way. I thought that was very interesting. And then my final point that I really like is this has to be just the most the juiciest performance opportunity for an actor, because not only did he get to inhabit this character, but he gets to inhabit he not only does he get to go through, what is this character, what have they gone through? How am I going to perform this? He gets to do that for however many versions of Kang they're going to have for the series. Here's that's so that is, and obviously it seems they got you have to have some amazing talent for that. I think they found that, so I'm very excited to see how he's able to all the different versions of him and sort of what texture he brings to each performance. Yeah, very excited.
And the future of the MCU in general and in the implications.
Well, really, I'm just excited to see more of him. And then I think it is interesting how they're going the opposite approach, whereas Thanos was, at best, a whisper every once in a while, but didn't really appear until the very end. of his saga. I think it's interesting that they're probably going to have Kang be a more consistent presence. I think that's going to be very interesting. So yeah.
All right, Boevingloh, are you willing to follow that, or do you want someone else to go now?
I'll go before I lose what I've kind of come up with.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, was it Jonathan Majors? Like, I have never seen anything else that he's in. So, this is my first time experiencing him as an actor, and I thought he did this very well. There was definitely that presence about him. Like, he knows things, lots of things, that we do not. That Loki does not, that Sylvie does not, that no one knows. It's about to be this whole can of worms that's about to be open for us in the next however many movies. And then you said, like, future of the MCU, Austin had mentioned, like, Kang is going to be he's the next Thanos, basically. But then, after that, who's the next Kang? How are we going to top this? Because
Bob Iger.
What?
Bob Iger will be the next Marvel villain.
I was going to say, there is always Galactus, but that's a better answer, Tanner.
Boevingloh, I made a dumb capitalism, socialism joke. Keep going.
No, I was going to say, if we're talking about dumb, or not dumb, but like, just comic booky things, I wouldn't be surprised. My personal theory is they might replace the Beyonder with Kang, and they might do something like akin to the original Secret Wars.
Secret War?
Yeah, Secret Wars, Secret War, wherever it is.
We didn't get a whole lot of build-up for Thanos. Why do I keep saying Thanos?
Both are right, I think.
Thanos kills us after Ragnarok.
You can kill Thanos.
It feels weird saying Thanos. I don't know why I did it.
It's definitely Thanos.
Yeah, it's definitely Thanos, but...
All right, I'm trying to make him feel good, you assholes.
No, I caught myself doing it. I'm like, why am I doing this? But Thanos didn't have a whole lot of build-up. Like, we saw him here and again, but he didn't really have his big shining moment until, like, Infinity War. And then we had 2 movies with him, for the most part. Now, we're having this big build-up for a villain that actually feels like a big build-up, and seeing the hype of everyone online, like, seeing how, like, oh man, shit's about to get real, it's about to get weird, like, how are they going to tackle this? And I just don't know how they're gonna top it. Like, I'm sure I'm not comic book savvy, I don't know, like, what happens there, I don't know all the villains, but it's just from a standpoint of, how are they going to get weirder than this? Because this feels really weird. And I'm sure there's plenty of examples, but that's just my thoughts currently.
They could do weird sex things. That's how they get weirder.
I mean, they're already kind of getting there.
Yeah, that kiss in episode 6, Vrenick and I both went, they did it! Mm-hmm. Vrenick, what do you think of Majors as Kang / He Who Remains / Immortus / Suck My Dick? And what do you think of him in the future of the MCU in general?
I kind of want to talk about that scene real quick, and I'll also kind of like tie it into his performance as well. I never thought Disney would make a fun version of the architect scene from The Matrix Reloaded, because
that's a great analogy.
I was talking to Tanner about that. I'm like, this is basically the architect scene from The Matrix Reloaded.
Right.
Because
I told you on the car ride home, you're basically about to watch The Matrix. Don't worry.
Yeah, because we came back from Space Jam and all I was talking about was The Matrix.
What in the Matrix hell?
Anyway, but yeah, I never thought in a million years that I would see that happen, but it happened, and they did 2 things better than that scene, which I think it's already a great scene, but it just needs to be, like, certain things need to be fixed for it to be, like, perfect. One, Jonathan Majors, at least this version of Kang, Immortus, He Who Remains, whatever you want to call him, that man is charismatic. I would not mind watching an entire movie with him. Like, the second he's on screen, he just kind of...
The Last Black Man in San Francisco's already out, Vrenick. You can!
I've never seen it, so I might have to. But yeah, no, it's like, he just walks in and is like, oh, I see you have your attention. Here, let me just take that. He takes your attention real quick and is absolutely captivating. Also, that whole scene is basically just like nothing but exposition. Like, he's just explaining, oh, here's who I am, here's what I do, this is where I come from, and here's what's going to happen. And here are all of the implications of what will happen. And it's like, there's the way that they shoot that scene is visually interesting. The way he goes about, like, describing it is interesting. Like, there's actual, like, visuals to kind of help you, like, understand what's going on. Like, he's got, like, that weird, as Tanner put it, the Kryptonian goo. from Man of Steel.
Oh, right, from Man of Steel.
But yeah, no, he's like using like visuals to like help describe what's going on, which that's again something that's kind of missing from that architect scene. We have no idea what he's talking about, or at least on a visual standpoint. And yeah, no, it's like I could probably talk about that whole sequence for hours, but we got to keep.
We have 9 minutes.
No, we don't. Anyway, but the implications that are now in place after the end of that episode, man, I was talking about it earlier. Talk about setting up your like big bad for like movies to come. Thanos didn't even get that treatment. Like as Boevingloh was talking about, he would just show up and just his big moment to shine was Infinity War. Just shows up, doesn't do anything. We don't really get like any sort of idea just how big a threat he is. Looking back on it, here, no, we know how big a fucking threat he is. There's like 10 of these fuckers, and already they're like conquering worlds and splitting up the multiverse. I want to know where this goes. I want to follow this because, yeah, the threat is like already at like such a high stake. I want to see how they're going to defeat this because I have no idea how they're going to defeat this.
Right. No, I feel the same way. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is about to be fucking lit as hell, right? Between the fact that Wanda's going to be in it, and this was confirmed by Variety the other day, Loki's going to be in it.
Oh.
Multiverse of Madness is going to be a great fucking movie, man. Season 2 is going to be great. I'm more excited for Quantumania than I was before. I'm already a huge fan of those Ant-Man movies and Bait and Raid and everything. So I'm excited to see that Yes Man scene. All right, guys, are you ready for a... Tanner's Trivia Corner. That bit sucked.
I liked it.
Oh, thank you. You don't have to lie to me, Rein. I'm glad that you're honest. All right, I had twice as much as I have half as much as I did at the beginning because I realized we were going to run out of time. So I cut out a bunch of this trivia and I left only the most interesting stuff. Number 1, Owen Wilson said he approached his relationship with Loki in this movie to be similar to that of Matt Damon and Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting. I kind of see it. Number 2, rather than read any Marvel comics preparing for his role as Agent Mobius, Owen Wilson instead had Tom Hiddleston explain the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe to him. Pretty sure these were the Loki lectures that people were talking about. Miss Minutes is inspired by Mr. DNA from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
This series originally supposed to just be Loki popping up in different events in history, like the D.B. Cooper thing, and they went, well, what if we did something like cool with this? The TVA was inspired by Atlanta's Marriott Marquis Hotel, which is a 50-story building with distinct architecture. To promote this show, General Mills and Marvel announced they would release 3,500 specially branded boxes of Lucky Charms cereal titled Loki Charms. I couldn't get a box. Sorry. At one point during the first episode, Loki threatens that office worker, Casey, saying, "I'll gut you like a fish, Casey." Can't believe nobody references. That's Scream. There's a line in Scream where someone says, "I'll gut you like a fish, Casey."
In the opening.
This is literally in the opening. How did we all miss that?
It's a common phrase.
Yeah.
That's fair. That cart that Casey's pushing in the first episode, it has a T206 Honest Wagner baseball card, which up until recently, but is still now the third most valuable baseball card in existence. It sells for about $3 million on average. The time theater sequence was like Loki seeing his life, inspired by Minority Report. In the cafeteria, Loki steals a drink box from Casey to illustrate a point. This drink box was a Boku drink box, which was apparently a marketing thing called Juice Boxes for Adults from 1990 to 2003. Private Hudson and Corporal Hicks. This was in episode 4, I think episode 5, maybe 4. But there's characters called Private Hudson and Corporal Hicks. This is a reference to Michael Biehn and Bill Paxton in Aliens.
Hudson, sir. He's Hicks.
The scene where Sif and Loki interact, first off, our first time seeing her since 2015 in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Heimdall, open the Bifrost.
And secondly, that scene is actually based off of the Norse legend in which Loki cuts off Sif's hair. In the legends of that, this eventually puts Thor on a quest that leads to the creation of Mjolnir, his hammer. In the quote-unquote void, you see a bunch of things like Yellow Jacket's head, Loki Frog, like Rein mentioned earlier, not Loki Frog, Thor Frog, which was voiced by Chris.
That was Joe, you plagiarizer.
Fuck you. There's also a helicarrier in the void with a fucking Hydra symbol implying that it comes from a universe where the Winter Soldier plan succeeded. There's a statue of the Living Tribunal. But most importantly, we saw the Thanos copter!
Thanos copter!
Thanos copter!
Thanos copter! The juice box that Kid Loki is drinking is High C Ecto Cooler, a soft drink that was first sold in 1989 to promote the worst Ghostbusters movie, Ghostbusters 2, and also the animated series The Real Ghostbusters. That ship that appears when like Loki and Sylvie are trying to have a plan to take on Ilith, that was the USS Eldridge, which was allegedly involved in a military experiment carried out in 1943 entitled the Philadelphia Experiment, which urban myths report that the thing was permanently rendered invisible to anyone. It's most likely a hoax. It actually was confirmed to be a hoax, but it's a reference to that. And then there's two things I want to mention. In episode 1, one of the structures the TV has T282 written on it. This refers to the Mighty Thor 282, which features Immortus, which is who we kind of see in the end of this episode. Episode 4, the ruins of Stark Tower are visible behind classic Loki in the after credits scene, except it doesn't have Stark on it, it has Qeng, Kang. This is a reference to Kang Enterprises, which acquired the tower from Tony Stark. This company is owned by, you guessed it, Kang the Conqueror. They were screaming about it in Easter eggs to our faces and we missed it. Okay, I got through all of it. Very, very quickly, guys. Any departing thoughts on Loki, the show, these episodes, whatever? We'll start with Austin.
They fucking did it! Woo!
Woo! Boevingloh.
I'm excited to see where it's going. Like, the way that they're splitting up everything. Like, there's gonna be movies that come out before season 2 of Loki. So, season 2 of Loki's not picking up where season 1 left off. There's gonna be stuff in between. I'm excited to see how that meshes together.
Like Multiverse of Madness. Vrenick, go.
Good job, Marvel. You stuck the landing. Keep sticking the landing, please.
Rein, go.
I'm very, very interested to see how they take things from here for season 2.
I agree more. I'm excited to see the next Doctor Strange. I'm excited to see more Loki as a character. And I'm excited that you decided to watch this video. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you're listening on any of the audio platforms we're on, please go ahead and leave a review because it helps boost us in the algorithm of whatever platform we're on. And if you're watching this video, thank you so very much for watching. Please comment below to let us know. What do you think of Loki? What do you think of episodes 4 through 6? Are you excited for the future of the MCU? Comment below and let us know. While you're down there, hit that like button so we know how much you like us. Hit that subscribe button so we know how much you love us. And hit the bell icon so you know exactly when we upload new videos. Thank you oh so very much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.
Wait.
Peace, bitches.
Wait. Next week we're doing Space Jam.
Next week we're doing Space Jam.
Hell yeah. Peace, bitches. You get 2.
They slid my ticket across the table and I said, "Sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl."